Welcome back, my neighbors. Today we're finally getting into input, which means controls. We'll be able to control our characters in our games. To player input. So, just following along in this chapter, build upon a previous lesson. Okay, we've created our script, yes, and we've had success with moving our 2D sprite around. But now what we're going to do is add it so that we can move we can move that icon or our character um, based on what we type on the keyboard or whatever this ends up whatever inputs they're trying to show us how to use. They're saying you have two main tools to process the player's input in Godot. We have the built-in input callbacks, mainly unhandled input, like the process. It has built-in virtual function that Godot calls every time the player presses a key. It's a tool that you want to react to events that don't just happen every frame, like pressing space to jump. To learn more about input callbacks, see using input event. Okay, we'll go there later. But the input a singleton is a globally accessible object. Okay, we'll explain that a little bit later, but that's a design pattern, a singleton. Um, Not important at this moment. We're going to use the input singleton here to know if the player wants to turn or move every frame. So what's the idea here? They're going to declare some new variables and then some logic. If input is okay, so what is it trying to say? We're declaring a new variable called direction and then some logic here. So if input is action pressed, UI left. So I guess that's the left key. Then the direction equals -1. I think they're trying to set a convention here. Maybe -1 is left or right. I don't know. But if you say here input action pressed UI right, okay, so the left direction is minus and the right direction is a positive number. And this rotation was where it was what it was before. I don't think there's a change there, except that they're inserting the direction in there. So this is all multiplied together. So I guess the by pressing left or right, you control. Okay, I know you control whether the rotation is clockwise or counterclockwise. Okay, because let's see. Right. This text essentially says what I just did. Um, okay, right. So that singleton, this function basically returns true. Okay, if the key is so basically this code you're inspecting whether the player has pressed the button. You're actually querying or you're polling for that information, right? Um, They say they respect trigger when the player presses left and right arrows on the keyboard or left and right on the gamepad or gamepad's deep directional pad. Okay, so even better, you don't have to write separate code for using control pads. That's neat. Okay, finally, the direction we use player. Okay, okay, okay. This will ignore the code. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so let's do. So where do we put this code? So what did it say? Where do we have to put this one? Okay. The built-in input callbacks, mainly unhandled input. Okay, so I think we're going to have to declare a function called unhandled input. Uh, okay. However, in it says let's just follow up. In our process function, replace the rotation. Okay. Okay, let's do that. So let's copy this code and stick it in our process function. So if you remember, this is our process function. So let's change this and put it here. Now, this got to be indented correctly. Otherwise, nothing will work. It's an indent based language. Okay. So let's just run it and see if anything happens. So left, I'm gonna press the left. Oh, left and right key. It does work, right? But so when I press left, it rotates left, and press right, it goes right. Great. So what's actually happening here is I think it's not because we put it in the underscore process function. It's just happening on every um, frame drawing, right? So every time the system, the engine is calling this function, we're just inspecting whether the input is whether the keyboard has been pressed, and then we change the rotation speed. I think they're going to change that uh, moving forward. Okay. All right. Let's see what we do. Okay. And you can see and edit input actions in your project by going to project settings and clicking on the input map tab. Okay, let's check that out. Let's see what that does. Project settings. Project. Project settings. Input map. Oh, input map here. I guess this is filtered by name. UI dot right and left. Okay. So there's different keys. You can see that there's different mappings to this. Oh, okay. So UI left and UI right, that map to either a joypad button 13 or joypad axis or the left key. The same with the right. So they're saying that you can actually change the mapping to this particular variable name. So remember the variable name here, we used UI right, UI left. Well, that's just changing what maps to this particular query here, this particular name. So they've given a name, but you can actually define it so that your controls, so your actual physical control can map to it. You can use map different keys, different physical keys to this name here. So that's all it's saying. But that's pretty cool. I mean, having this all built in, not having writing a single line of code to do this map, that's amazing. Um, Comment to the line's velocity equals vector 2 up rotated direction, like this. Okay. This will ignore the code that moved the icon's position in a circle without user input from the previous exercise. I don't remember this. Did we do this? Did we have velocity? I don't think we had that. Velocity times delta position plus. I don't think we had this. Did we skip a lesson? I think all we had was this. So I'm not sure where that came from. I'm just going to ignore that. To only move when pressing a key, we need to modify the code that calculates the velocity. Uncomment the code and replace the line starting with var velocity with this one. Okay. I'm just going to copy this thing. All right. They said this is the complete script. Okay, let's just copy this end part of it because I don't know where to put that thing. But basically, is what it's saying is it's changing the direction and it's creating the rotation. And then not only that, if the UI up button is pressed, then your velocity changes. There's a calculation for the velocity, right? So let's try that. Let's just copy this thing and let's run it. Okay, we'll save it. Let's run it. Okay, so rotate. I'm gonna press up. Wow. Ooh, if I press up, it actually goes. Well, it's going, I guess, up according to the guy's head, right? It's moving in pressing up moves the your character, your player in the direction that you're rotated to, right? Hey, that's cool. Wow. So let's take a look at the code here. Okay, position plus velocity. So I guess it tells you something here. The position. What does that actually? I think position might be an implicit variable somewhere. Then I don't see position anywhere. Um, we're gonna have to inquire about that. Let's look at it if it explains this. Okay, summary. Now, in summary, every Godot script in Godot represents a class and extends blah blah blah. The node types have access to properties such as rotation and position. Okay, so position is one of those built-in um, properties in the sprite class or in the node. Hmm, okay, let's try to find out where rotation position come from. Let's see if we can find that out. In any reasonable programming language, this should be easy. Let's try to find out. Okay, so Sprite 2D, if I recall, Sprite 2D here, can we take a look at its properties here? Uh, there's texture, region, transform, order, material. Okay, I guess this is the hierarchy, right? Sprite 2D, node 2D, canvas item, then node. But where are its properties? Let's see. Animation, offset, region. And it might be this. It might be this position property here, but it's in uppercase, which I feel like, I mean, position and rotation here. So those are in uppercase, but these are in lowercase. So I feel like it's not that. I feel like we should know this. I feel like it's explained this in the last uh, in the last tutorial. I'm gonna have to go back. It's bothering me that I don't know how to look at the properties. Okay, let's look, let's search for the property. Let's look for position. Does it bring anything? No. Let's see rotation. Now it keeps showing the transform for some reason. It closed everything, so I guess it's in the node 2D. Right. Okay. So I think that's it. This rotation, does it tell you? But what I don't understand is to access the rotation. It's in within the transform. It's within the transform parent property. But how come I can access it without actually telling that it's in the transform? So I don't know why that is. Um, well, maybe we can try to change something else. What about scale? Let's do an experiment. Let's see if we can access the scale. I don't know if we can control the scale. Uh, this is scale x and y or skew. Let's try skew. Maybe that it's in degrees, so maybe that can be manipulated. Let's try something. Let's say if you press down, if input is action. Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff here, right? Action just pressed. Oh, I don't know what between the just pressed is and pressed is. We've got to search up the documentation of that. Pressed is UI, let's say down. Then let's change the let's change our scale. Let's set a credit for scale. Var scale, a local variable scale. Let's just call it local scale equals or it's not scale. Sorry, skew. So right now it's 0. So let's see if we can set it. So local skew, I don't know, let's say plus 1, plus equals 1 or something. And then what we do, the skew, is we update the skew. And okay, you see when I type it, when I start typing something, it knows implicitly I want to modify a property in within this object, and it's printing out all the properties that are available. So skew is one of those properties. So let's try to edit it. So equals to local skew. Let's see what happens. Okay, so let's save this and run it. So if I can still move it up and down, but now I'm gonna press the down key, see what happens. Okay. So it's kind of like skewing. You see it's stretching it out from by the corners. So I guess that's what the skew does. Cool. So that answers a couple of questions, right? Is how do you know what properties there are? You just type it, you just start typing in the editor anything, and a bunch of properties will show up. I guess a dot p means property, I would guess, and dot f with the braces is a function. That's really awesome. This IntelliSense makes a really good difference here. But I like how it groups the things in this by different categories. But it is confusing that um, when you actually in the GD script, if you start typing, I mean, this thing had nothing to do with the transform, right? Um, so that I'm not sure why it's that way, but this is good. Okay, so let's see. So that's the end of this lesson. So that's great. I wanted to keep this video short to keep your attention, but we've next video I'm going to move on to doing other stuff using signals. But you can tell here that just this little amount of code, this is like literally what, like 23 lines of code, and we have the ability to move our character on the screen like that and rotate it and move it around. Wow, if this level of engine was available when I was growing up as a kid, I think I would have made a lot of games. But anyways, that's not an excuse. People made games before me, but anyhow, what I'm saying is that now it's so accessible with this engine that I think anybody can do it. So, anyways, next video I'm gonna go into signals, and so see you in the next one.